And now it's time for Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk hookup. For the next 2 hours, join Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Maxa, Corey Sandin, and this week's special expert guest for fishing information, new techniques to catch more fish, and the most current scoop on what's happening in the water. Let's Talk Hookup is sponsored in part by Royal Polaris, the world's finest long-range sports fisher. By Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup, and Shimano Rods and Reels. Fish with the best. Shimano. Get ready for the fastest 2 hours on radio with the hosts of Let's Talk Hookup, Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Maxa, and Corey Sandin.
Good morning, anglers, and welcome to Let's Talk Hookup. I'm Pete Gray with Rock Cod Rick Maxa back in the world headquarters here at Let's Talk Hookup, right next to the San Diego landings in Point Loma. And speaking of the San Diego landings and all the landings of California, we have the man that the guardian angel of them all, basically, Captain Ken Franke from the Sportfishing Association of California here. Ken's got a world of knowledge here and a world of information for you, so you stay tuned. This is Southern California's sport fishing voice. It's Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app and the mightier 1090 ESPN Radio.
In America, the future belongs to everyone. So we engineered the truck of the future for everyone. Ford F-150. Available with a Pro-Power onboard generator and a variety of cab configurations for whatever you need to haul. Because the truck of the future isn't created for just a few. It's for America. Ford F-150. Drive one today. Come in now for a huge selection of vehicles like the 2022 Ford F-150 for 1.9% APR for 60 months. Only at your San Diego County Ford dealers. Not all buyers will qualify for Ford credit financing. 1.9% APR financing for 60 months at $17.48 per month, per thousand financed, regardless of down payment. Residency restrictions apply. For all offers, take new retail delivery from an authorized Ford dealer stock by 4/3/2023. See dealer for qualifications and complete details.
Here's John Ireland for Rancho Leonero.
Rancho Leonero was awarded the Certificate of Excellence from TripAdvisor for 4 straight years. Especially interesting, most hotels are just hotels, and most people stay in the hotel and go do their activities elsewhere. Rancho Leonero, of course, provides fishing, diving, all activities, all meals, your whole vacation. So the fact that we're so highly rated, we're very proud of it. From picking you up at the airport to dropping you off, literally everything is turnkey from there. We make it as easy as we can for you at the ranch. From your meals to whether you're going to go fishing or diving or just hang out by the pool. When you're coming to Rancho Leonero, you are coming to John Ireland's home. I guarantee the best fishing vacation experience in all of Baja. It's unique. There's nowhere that I could think of to get the same experience that you get in Rancho Leonero. Our new reservation phone number is 800-646-2252, 646-BAJA, and rancholeonero.com. It's really unique. It is. We're very proud of it.
This is Captain Dwayne Diego, Pinnacle Sport Fishing. Visual signs are one of our most important aspects to our charter fishing business. It's the reason myself and all of our crew all wear Costa sunglasses. With advanced polarization technology, Costa is designed to help cut through the sun's glare while providing enhanced color and comfort to help you see more fish. Costa was founded over 35 years ago by a group of fishermen wanting high-performance lenses for every fishing application. Costa has a West Coast style frame and lens for your pursuit. Check them out at costasunglasses.com.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Boy, I really enjoy having Ken on here. You know, there's so much that goes on all the time that all of us have, question marks on and not sure, and it's so cool to have the man in here that has our back, that keeps us fishing, and I'm really looking forward to today's show.
Good morning, Ken.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey, great to have you. Welcome back, Ricky.
Yeah, thanks, man. Good to be back.
Good vacation?
It was, with the shows, not having the show on Christmas Day and then New Year's Eve, we were gone on vacation. It feels like it's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's been really fun. Yeah, we had a great trip. Went to Hawaii and enjoyed some really good time with Dallas and relaxing.
Good weather, unlike what we had here.
Man, we hit it. We hit it just right. It was really difficult weather here, and boy, it was just perfect there. 74 was the high, and 70 was the low.
Sounds perfect.
It was so nice.
Yeah, sounds great. Well, great to have you back in the world headquarters here, Ken.
Yeah,
hey, good morning, guys.
You guys have been basically doing nothing lately,
just hanging out, right?
Hanging out.
Nothing going on for old Ken.
Yeah.
just enjoying the weather.
Yeah. So a lot going on. Let's talk about rockfish first. There are a lot of big changes here for the beginning of the year, and everything for the fleet and for private anglers too, right?
Yeah. But I would qualify that with it's a work in progress, because the whole core of the issues involve copper and quillback rockfish. As soon as we realized that they needed more data before any changes could occur, we started 6 different boats along the coast doing sampling projects offshore for NOAA, where the crews do the collection of the carcasses of the fillets. Passenger gets the fillet, carcass gets put in a styrofoam box, 25 at a time, and sent to the Santa Cruz lab for analysis. They've taken over 600 samples, which is what they needed all along that they didn't have. Cool. The challenges we have in the season next year is because of a lack of data. They needed more information, but in the absence of that, they had to do the most conservative thing possible. Very involved process. I won't bore everybody with it. But what we're working on right now, we're going to do some wintertime trips. Yes, everything's closed, but NOAA has a collection permit. We're going to finish doing that. They're going to do a full stock assessment on copper. And then if the data indicates that some changes can be made, then it's appropriate to go to the council, Pacific Management Council, and ask for a in-season adjustment. So everybody's pulling on the same rope. We want to protect the species out there. But at the same time, once the data is processed, if it indicates that there's some changes that can be made, I wouldn't be surprised to see some changes next year, or this year. What am I saying now? This year at the end of the year. But initially, we'll have a month delay in the season opener. But the good thing is look at the all-depth opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's huge.
I agree. I mean, it wasn't, there was so much doom and gloom when, everybody focuses on the negative of, there was an extra month of not fishing the rockfish. And, when the regs officially came out and saw that there was 0 depth restriction once it was on again, until it closed, until the temporary closure for the shallow stuff, I believe in September. There's a lot of opportunity that we haven't had before.
There is, and I have to say, Department of Fish and Wildlife and the NIMS staff and us, we're all communicating. We're all trying really hard to get the data collected quickly. And when I testified at the council about this, I said, folks, we understand what had to happen, but we ask for urgency once the data is in the hands of the regulators to move quickly if there's an appropriate in-season adjustment. So all I can say is from Ken's view, sit tight. And the one thing that the public can do, please avoid copper rockfish. Release them, use descending devices. You're going to be encountered by, it's called surf samplers. Those will be samplers from the state of California walking the waterfront, maybe going on some half-day boats, and they're going to say, hey, do you use a descending device? And did you catch a copper rockfish today? Yeah, tell them, I caught a copper rockfish and we released it. Shallow water, you don't need a descending device, but deeper water you do.
Yeah.
Copper's usually 25 to 40 fathoms. And they're
very common.
They're the Abrams tank of the ocean.
Yeah.
So, they release real easy. But what we're trying to do is just have the only take, if you will, of copper be when we're sampling and shipping those samples to NOAA. And the idea being, if you can release them, why do we need to close the ocean?
That's what I'm saying.
So just a kind of common sense grassroots approach. So they kept track and they do algorithms, and we're waiting for the data, the final numbers. But the first 3 quarters of last year, we did really well. And the numbers came in way below what was being thought. I want to say it was like 40% of what they thought the take was going to be. And they count the take, even the stuff we released. The other important thing is, because of descending devices, the council just voted to approve giving credit to us for the use of descending devices in the mortality rates that they keep track of. that reduces the take number. That helps us too. So for everybody out there, please use a sounding device. Please let copper rockfish go, and let's see how this thing plays out. And we're going to be at all the council meetings, and we'll do our best to collect the data with the scientists and have us do this proactively in the future. I drove up to Santa Cruz lab the other day and talked with the scientist in charge. It's Dr. Melissa Monk. And I said, we want to keep, we're in. We want to keep doing this proactively and not have these surprises in the future. That way we can keep anglers on the water.
What was the feeling of people up, north of our landings? Because I don't know. Copper rockfish was a very difficult one for me to swallow down here because it's such a prolific rockfish.
Commonly called
chuckleheads.
Chuckleheads.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of people probably don't know.
You're right. No, totally.
A lot of people call them chuckleheads.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a common rockfish for us down here that one was a hard one for me to swallow. But I fish down here. I don't fish north of here. North of Southern California, southern rockfish region. Does it feel more stress? Like, do the landings up above? Do they have that feeling? Yeah, it is kind of tough. We used to catch a whole bunch of those things. Maybe not as much now. Or is the feeling kind of the same down here, where it's, man, what are you talking about? That's so common. We catch them all the time.
Catch more than anything.
I mean, I only know about where I know, and there's so much of this coastline that I just don't know about.
A large portion of what's up north are all salmon fishermen, or they're doing crab combos. The rockfish pressure, just anecdotally, when I was in college, that's how I paid for things.
You did.
I worked on a Farallon Island boat, went out to Fanny Shoal. There wasn't a big pressure on it. Everything's been closed. Their depths, their season's more restrictive. They too, the beauty of the carb mess that we just went through was we're all talking together now, and in our office at SAC, we have all of the boats up in Golden Gate Fishing Association in our communications list now, so that they get the same information about copper and quillback rockfish. We have 2 of their boats in the sampling program as well. So
that's great.
The beauty is everybody's doing the same thing statewide. I drove up to Morro Bay recently to talk to a bunch of folks up there, and a woman came up to me and said, "Hi, I'm a sampler. I want to understand. I've been on boats lately, and they're all letting the copper rockfish go. What are you all doing?" And I explained it to her, and she goes, "Oh my God, that's brilliant. We're not used to the recreational fishermen doing that." And yeah, so I think statewide we're getting better on the commercial passenger fishing boats in how we're doing things.
Sure.
And so we'll see what the outcome is.
So explain to our listeners that don't understand, what is SAC? What do you do?
Yeah.
I'm a janitor. No, I clean up stuff. Basically SAC is Sport Fishing Association of California, nonprofit. We have all the harbors between San Diego and Santa Barbara in SAC. North of us, our fellow anglers are Golden Gate Fishing Association. That's about 40 boats. We got a couple hundred down here in Southern California.
So do you cover to Morro Bay, or do you cover?
We cover up to Santa Barbara.
Up to Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara.
And then Golden Gate would cover San Luis,
Monterey North.
Monterey. Oh, Monterey. What happens in between?
Well, that's a good question. I drove up to Morro Bay recently.
Would you like those landings to be a part of SAC?
We introduced ourselves to them, and I think that's a good discussion that needs to be had to see if they're interested. We never want to pressure anybody.
Sure.
But what's become evident is we all need to be communicating well.
And be represented.
Yeah. And it helped us during CARB having Golden Gate Fishing Association and SAC working together, and during COVID when we wrote the protocols and got a whole bunch of stuff approved and testified in front of those health departments, et cetera. The protocols were the same for the entire state. That helped us having one voice, one plan, everyone doing it the same. The anglers loved it, reduced passenger capacities.
Sure.
And the proof was in the pudding, and we had a couple of amazing years during COVID where we all got to go fishing. So I think we'll continue in that vein moving forward, and we'll just see how things work out.
That is something that you just mentioned that is so huge, and a lot of anglers don't understand, that if it wasn't for the representation of Sport Fishing Association of California and Ken Franke, we would have been totally shut down in 2020.
I appreciate that.
Right? Pretty much.
We rallied every resource we had. We testified at all sorts of councils, committees, you name it. But I think the core of it is the protocols that we put in place. And we had Coast Guard involved. CDC's been involved along the way. It's just, there's been a lot of complicated things with, masks and passenger counts, et cetera. But the beauty was, we all did it the same way, and the attitude of the anglers that came on the boat was awesome.
Yeah.
It was like they got it. Uh-huh. We were getting thrown a bone, and they weren't going to screw it up, and you all did great. It worked out amazing.
Oh, yeah.
These 2 years of fishing we had while everything was closed,
right.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Ken navigated us through COVID and through CARB. These are huge things, huge threats to how we like to spend our time, what we like to do, go fishing. We would be lost without Sack at the wheel.
I'm glad you mentioned the CARB thing, because thank you to the anglers out there that rogered up and helped with all of the petitions, et cetera, having the state agree to something that made some sense, which is engines that do exist to be able to put in the boats. We're already halfway there, by the way.
Of
repowering the engines.
Wow.
Yeah, we already have half the fleet at Tier 3. So the other half is what we're working on. A lot of complicated stuff there. I won't bore you. But having the anglers all jumping on board really made a difference. So thank you to all of you.
So had the CARB not gone through, had it just been done by the way, a lot of these boats would be out of service today, right?
Well, what they were giving us was Tier 4 plus DPF, diesel particulate filter. Everybody knows the concerns of that. We have a whole long list of them.
Yeah.
They were going to give folks several opportunities for 2-year extensions, but then the boat gets taken out of service.
Yeah. And
now we have a different environment where the engines that they want us to put in the boats do exist, and we're working on it. And I'm going to a meeting at the beginning of February on helping to pay for it.
That's cool.
Having the state
Searcher
help.
just completely repowered, and I think there's several other boats that are just in the process, right?
Yeah. So it's just navigating through the minefield, and frankly, we're doing pretty good. And it ain't Ken. It's the SAC Board of Directors. We have every harbor on this coast has got several leaders who volunteer to be on our board of directors. We just had a meeting Tuesday. They are who call the shots. I implement what they call. So, thank you to all of them. So when you go on, the boats at Dana Wharf, or you go on the boats up in Long Beach or up in Santa Barbara, and you're going on those SAC boats, that's what's paying for this. A little bit of every ticket price is going to the dues that pays for protecting our opportunity to go fishing.
Whew. A lot going on there.
Well said.
Yeah,
man. That's
for
awesome.
sure.
That's what SAC does.
Yeah. And we haven't even ventured into all the stuff he does for Mexico, too.
Yeah, no doubt.
Anyway, as we can hear, we have a great show lined up for today. A lot to talk about with Captain Ken Franke.
We really do. I think it's going to be a great one. Really looking forward to all the phone calls and text messages. You want to talk about the guy who's on top of all these things. It's Ken. And, man, we want to hear from you this morning. Give us a call if you want to join us here on Let's Talk Hookup at 213-432-1090. Again, it's 213-432-1090. Phones are already pretty darn packed up, but we do have an open phone line you could get through right this second. Again, 213-432-1090. Or text the show. I know there's going to be a lot of good text today. That text the show option is only available through the Let's Talk Hookup app. It's a free download, easy to get a hold of. Just download the Let's Talk Hookup app. As soon as you fire it up, you'll see the text the show option there. Send your text in, and make sure when you send us a text, you include your contact information. Because if you're the winner of the big prize at the end of the show today, we want to make sure to get a hold of you. And what a prize it is. One of our lucky callers or texters, and the prize winner is going to be determined via our prize coin flip, is going to be a full-day trip on board the San Diego out of C4 Sport Fishing, a full-day trip with Captain Ryan Boston on the San Diego, and we're going to be giving away a 2023 Bill Varney CCA calendar. That's all going to one winner. A trip aboard the San Diego out of Seaforth, a brand-new calendar coming your way, a couple of great prizes for one lucky caller or texter. Again, if you want to get through, 213-432-1090. When we come back, we're going to be taking your phone calls. Lots of great info coming your way. You stay tuned. You're listening to Southern California's sport fishing voice. This is Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app and the mightier 1090 ESPN Radio.
This is Pete, and I hear it all the time. That Jim and Mary at Poway Valley Collision are amazing. I took my car to Poway Valley Collision, mentioned Let's Talk Hookup, and they gave us VIP treatment, fixed our car, and even gave us a special price. Believe me when I say Poway Valley Collision is worth the drive from anywhere in the Southland. At some point, your car will need a body repair, and I'm confident in saying it pays to go to Poway Valley Collision. Our listeners can save hundreds of dollars on your next car or truck repair. They work with most insurance companies, including Auto Club, MetLife, Wawanesa, and more. All you do is call Jim, Mary, or any of their team members, and they do all the rest. No hassles, just top-notch work and VIP treatment. When you take your car or truck to Poway Valley Collision, the job and experience will be top-notch. Get it fixed right at Poway Valley Collision, 14211 Garden Road in Poway. Check PowayValleyCollision.com.
Long-range fishing, nothing beats Shimano. Hi, this is Doug Kern from Fisherman's Landing Tackle, the saltwater tackle professionals. Come check out the Shimano Talica, the pinnacle of lever drag 2-speed reels. The Talica features Shimano's Hagani body when throwing jigs. The Shimano Trinidad is your top choice. With the extreme cranking power and Shimano's Super Free Spool provides extreme castability. You'll be able to put your jig in the Wahoo zone. For all your Shimano needs, visit us at Fisherman's Landing Tackle at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego. The name that stands out among anglers is Fisherman's Landing, your top choice in local and long-range fishing. We offer the finest open party trips from 1 to 3 days, the best charter boats available, and of course, our world-renowned long-range fleet. Fisherman's Landing offers half-day trips on the Dolphin and full-day trips on the Liberty. Many trips can be easily booked online at fishermanslanding.com. I'll see you at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego.
Hey, this is Rosie with Cedros Sport Fishing. We have always been the leader in fishing trips to Cedros Island. We have set the bar even higher with our second lodge opening for the 2022 season. Side-by-side lodges sitting on the cliff's edge with relaxing ocean views. With direct flights departing to the CBX in San Diego, we are committed to providing first-class service to our guests and an unforgettable fishing experience. Come check out the yellowtail and calico bass capital in the world. Nobody does it better than Cedros Sport Fishing. Call me at 619-772-7570 or check us out at cedrosportfishing.com.
Hey anglers, AFCO Pro Captain Ben Florentino of Coastal Charters here. As a full-time guide, I'm on the water all year long. It's my livelihood. Having the right clothing is of the utmost importance to staying warm, dry, cool, and comfortable to endure whatever the Pacific wants to throw at me. Thankfully, I'm equipped with AFCO clothing to keep me dialed season after season. Do yourself a favor and check out AFCO's award-winning gear at a dealer near you, or learn more at AFCO.com.
Dave Brown here from Okuma Fishing Tackle. Be sure to stop by our booth at the Bart Hall shows to check out the hottest new gear for bluefin fishing like the new Tesoro and Salina spinning reels, as well as put your hands on the new BioFlyer from Fish Lab. See you there.
It's a whale of a show.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Man, that didn't take long for those phones to pack up for Ken, did it?
Ooh, yeah, for sure. A lot of phones, a lot of texts, and interesting text. That was actually sent in by a listener a few days ago because he said he was going to be out of the country listening on the app here as he could. But he wanted to know about Canadian skippers, and being that we're going to have Valerie Hoprich from Queen Charlotte Safaris on the show tomorrow morning, are the rules the same for Canadian skippers as they are for U.S. Coast Guard skippers?
In what regard are they going to be out?
I mean, licensing wise.
They have their own mechanism, just like every country. It's called the IMO, International Maritime Organization. They call the shots for the world, so to speak, on maritime activities. But yeah, a master from England, a master from Canada, a master from the United States. There's all an equivalency, and so they're all quite qualified to be doing it.
So Can a Canadian skipper come down and run one of the San Diego sport fishing boats?
No, there's complexities there because on our Merchant Mariner credential, there's a stipulation that we can be interned back into the Merchant Marine, et cetera, if we hold that credential. And so to operate a U.S. flag vessel, there would be, I think, a lot of complexities to having them be able to work in the country operating our vessel. There may be a process, but I'm unaware of it.
Gotcha.
I've never heard of it.
All right. So. Interesting.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Good question. There's a lot
never
of
never say never, but I'm unaware of anybody operating a U.S. flag vessel.
But a Canadian captain can operate a Canadian flagged vessel in the United States or anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Just like our boats, go all over the place as well.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
That's cool.
Great.
It's called international commerce.
All right.
I like it. Well, hey, let's jump into the phones. The phones are absolutely packed up. Every single line busy for Ken. We're going to jump in and start it off with John. John's calling us from Escondido this morning. Good morning, John. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen, and happy New Year to you, Ricky. My two questions are, one, can you get on any of the sampling vessels to help retrieve the rockfish? And then the second is, what's the difference between SAC and CCA, and do you guys work together?
Great questions. No, you can't get on those trips. Those are going to be scientists with the crews of the boats. But thank you for offering. I'm assuming that's what you're doing. And second piece, CCA is for the anglers. SAC, we are the representatives of the vessels and the vessel owners. So we work hand in hand with CCA. Wayne Cotto, amazing partner. I think the world of the guy. Awesome guy. Him and I talk regularly. But between the two organizations, you all are very well represented.
And here's the thing, too, that we have to be aware of as anglers. Ken and Wayne have both been hinting around retirement. There's no way.
Don't let them.
Either one of you guys can retire, okay? So we have to do everything possible to make sure that both of these guys work, because we need them both for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
We're good. We're good.
Yeah. We'll park the car for you. We'll wash the truck. Whatever it takes, man. Yeah, we can't have you guys out of here. Keeping us going.
Yeah. Hey, good questions. Thanks a lot for the call this morning.
That brings up, though, something that I want to say, and we've talked about it in the past, but it just needs to be said again, and it's the amount of stuff that SAC has done for the private boater fleet that they frankly didn't need to do, nor are paid to do, nor anything else. I mean, so much stuff with fishing in Mexico, with launch ramp, with access, whatever it may be. I mean, SAC is exactly that. It's the sport fishing boat. It's paid for by the tickets on sport boats. I mean, they don't have any need to do stuff for us as private boaters, but clearly they do, and probably the biggest group that has helped us as private boaters, just because it's a good thing to do. And I just want to say, on behalf of a guy that has his own boat and likes to fish with it in Mexico, another big thanks to SAC, because they're sport boat people, and yet they still do so much of us as private boat anglers.
I appreciate that. And we just recognize our board of directors looking out for the private anglers. Those are the same people that go on our boats.
Yeah,
so,
sure it is.
All for one, one for all.
Yeah. Also, I remember, too, those of us who do own boats, remember during COVID, it was you guys that really helped us get back on our boats again without having a commercial license.
Well, we knew that it would start with the recreational boats, and so that's why we were full court pressed to get the recreational boats in operation, because we knew then we would be next.
That opens the door for
we really had a personal agenda to get the recreational boats out.
For sure. Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, let's jump into the phones. They're packing up. They want to talk to Ken.
Vinny in Carlsbad is up next here on Let's Talk Hookup. Vinny, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, how you guys doing? Happy New Year.
You too, Vinny.
Hey, question. How did you get started in SAC, Frank?
Great question. So my family's from San Diego. Grandparents were the lighthouse keepers at Ballast Point. I went on a SAC boat my first time when I was a little kid, And I actually just fell in love with sport fishing. I mowed lawns, you name it. Couldn't wait to get working as a deckhand on a boat. Went through high school working as a deckhand on a boat here in San Diego. Went into law enforcement for a brief 30-year history. But on a parallel, all my days off at the police department, I was running sport boats and owned a boat called the Outer Limits for about 20 years over at Seaforth, and just loved it. And then when I went to retire from that job, Bob Fletcher, who we all love and know, he was going to retire, and so I just stepped into his shoes. Big shoes.
Big shoes.
Big shoes. Did a great job.
Yeah. Both Bob and Ann did an amazing job with SAC.
Amazing job, yeah.
Through the years, and then you've continued that trend, too.
Yep.
So you own the Outer Limits for 20 years, and the Outer Limits, of course, is still running out of C4 Sport Fishing.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Paul's doing them. Paul, he put up with me that long. And so he was the operator of the boat, and now him and his family own the boat, and dude works hard, and he's in a great place. You know, John Yamati and the family and Frank Lepresti and all of them who own that landing, they watch out for him, and it's a good thing.
Your grandparents were the lighthouse keepers at Ballast Point?
Yeah, my dad grew up in the lighthouse.
Yeah, and did you used to go there as a little kid?
We would go by to visit, but at that point, my grandparents were retired when I was around. Dad left the lighthouse, went to the Coast Guard, but grandparents kind of retired almost at the same time as Dad was getting out of the Maritime Academy and such. But yeah, they lived out there, I don't know, 30 years, something like that. Wow. Like Grandma planted the palm trees out there from seedlings she got in Old Town.
No kidding.
She traded a sack of lobsters for them.
So Ballast Point used to be the place where the lighthouse was?
Yeah, well, they have a lighthouse at Ballast Point. They had a lighthouse at Point Loma. The two families that ran the lighthouses worked together to maintain the buoys in the harbor. And those chief bosun's mates were the two that pretty much ran the show. They were in the lighthouse service to begin with, and then they transferred into the Coast Guard when the Coast Guard took them over.
Wow. There's no lighthouse at Ballast Point anymore.
There is a light, but not a lighthouse. There was a whole full-blown lighthouse, like 3 houses and a lighthouse.
Like the one at Point Loma.
Just like the one at Point Loma, yeah.
I'll be darned.
But they teamed up, and the lighthouse keepers, the two families, the one at the Point and the one at Ballast Point, they teamed up to do everything. Yeah.
That's a rad story.
Cool
I had no idea. That's really cool.
Good history.
Yeah,
there.
totally.
Yeah. Hey, do you have a great text?
I think so. Yeah, I really want to read this one. This is from Dave in Anaheim, and his question is, hey, my question is for Ken. Does all depth in regards to rockfish fishing include the offshore shelves? Like once this closure expires in April, are we going to be able to fish the 14-mile bank or the 43 and the 81 and the backside of Clemente?
Good question.
So everything in the cow-cod conservation area stays intact. So the 43s in the cow-cod conservation area.
And you can't fish there.
You can't fish there. And
no matter what depth.
No matter what depth. So outside of the CCA, that's where the all depth occurs. And we, just to make sure, I'm actually going to get in touch with Department of Fish and Wildlife to verify that the all depth is going to include like 60-mile bank, 9-mile bank, 14-mile bank, just to bring some clarity. And what SAC does each time when they do this kind of stuff, we'll put together charts. We'll put them on their website so that all the private boaters will have access to them as well. And we'll ask the department to do it as well. That way the public knows where they're allowed to be and that there's no miscommunication. So we'll call that a work in progress. But to my knowledge, yeah, you're going to be able to fish a lot of cool places.
Some of the things that created a lot of the confusion with previous depth restrictions were that it wasn't just the depth. It was the seaward side or the shoreward side of the depth line. Could you explain the previous depth changes that happened?
Yeah, all of it. Excuse me. Everything is based on a line. It's not the actual depth. It's there's lines in the ocean called RCA lines, Rockfish Conservation Area lines, and it's either seaward or leeward, shoreward of that line. So because the contour of the coast, it goes up and down depending on where you are. Well, that was unenforceable. So that's when they came up with the matrices of lines in the ocean that are very well publicized. You can go on the SAC website. They're there, charts, printable, so that it'll go on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. But that way it's crystal clear where you're in and where you're out.
So they might have said that you can fish up to 60 fathoms. Well, there's this spot way offshore that comes up to 60 fathoms, but if it was outside of that line, it was still off. And if you were inside of that line, you were all good.
That's pretty much it. Yeah. The key is you won't actually see them saying, "Oh, you can fish 60 fathoms." It'll be
you can fish inside the 60 fathom line.
Inside the 60 fathom line. That line is what counts. It's not the depth.
Got it.
Okay, I'm confused.
So in the ocean, the Fish and Wildlife Department has plotted actually through the Federal Register points in the ocean that they have drawn up and down the coast, and you're shoreward of that line.
Okay.
And what happens though is, I'll use La Jolla Cove as an example.
All right.
You got very deep water all the way up to the shoreline.
Right.
So they'll draw lines, and sometimes you'll be in deeper water than 60 fathoms or 100 fathoms, whatever it is. But you're inside the line. You're legal. You're fine.
You're inside.
You're inside the line. The line is what counts, not what's on the fathometer.
And are those lines relatively close approximations of that depth? Like, is the 60 fathom line, it's often 60 fathoms. But like you said, obviously sometimes there's peaks and there's valleys, but for the most part, it's relatively close to that depth.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it. So the simplest thing, go to our website or go to the Department of Fish and Wildlife website. It's there. The charts are there. You can see very quickly. There's just a series of lines up and down the coast.
Yeah.
Fish to shoreward of that line and stay out of the marine protected areas, and you're good.
Okay, so here's another scenario. The 9 Mile Bank gets fished very heavily. Okay, so...
Wait. No, it doesn't.
No.
No.
Because it's too deep.
It's too deep.
Yeah, in most places.
The only legal fishing on the 9 Mile Bank is south.
Is in Mexico.
Mexico.
Okay, so will the 9 Mile Bank be legal then?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's going to be a lot of untouched rockfish ground that becomes available for us in April.
All depth is all depth.
So so does that mean you can fish both sides of the 9 Mile Bank?
You're going to be able to fish the 9 Mile Bank for the first time in 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Like I said, yes, it's a bummer that we're not fishing rockfish in the month of March, but man, there is some really good opportunity coming for us.
So the best thing I can tell the public, keep an eye on the websites. The information will be very crystal clear. I'm sure be talking with the Department of Fish and Wildlife. Fish and Wildlife's been really good about communicating with us and the public. They got a great leader. Craig Schumann does amazing job in the marine region.
Yeah.
And at the council, Marcy Uremko and her staff, those folks are all working really hard to communicate. They have meetings with us as well. So keep an eye open for clarity, and we'll do our best to publish as much information as we can to make it easy to understand.
Make it perfectly clear.
Yep.
But that makes sense. I mean, if you're fishing, like a lot of people like to fish 9 Mile Bank, haven't been able to fish 9 Mile Bank in U.S. waters, you will be able to fish it now on both sides.
So I got a challenge for them. Look for the 3 sunk ships out there.
Yeah, you've told me about those. I've never found those. Come on.
I'll just put it out there.
Yeah, well, we haven't all had the luxury of driving around with an underwater ROV, taking pictures of every killer piece of bottom contour. But holler at your boy over here because I'd like to take a look at some of that footage.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hey, well, speaking of great fishing, we're going to find out what's going on in the Baja. It's time for the Catch Report with the cast man, Richard Castaneda. Today, that Catch Report sponsored by our friends at Dana Landing on Mission Bay, your one-stop shop for everything that you need to go fishing. A complete saltwater tackle shop, the full deli, snacks, beverages, ice and boating supplies. And when it comes to freshwater tackle, check out East County Bait and Tackle and the brand new Lemon Grove Bait and Tackle. They're full of all the freshwater tackle and live bait that you need for a great day in the lake. Dana Landing is right across from SeaWorld next to the Dana Lawn Tramp in Mission Bay. East County Bait and Tackle, they're at the end of the 67 freeway at Mapleview and Lakeside. And the new Lemon Grove Bait and Tackle, they're on Broadway and Lemon Grove. Check DanaLanding.com for more info. Let's talk to him. We got the cast man standing by. Buenos dias, Cass.
Hey, buenos dias, Ricky. Talking about the that sonar, whatever you can see at the bottom, like you said, it was really, when we were up fishing the sturgeon up in Canada, the guide had some kind of a, I don't know, I'd never seen him before, but a big screen, and he could go like 4 sections on it. And anyway, he could actually see the sturgeon on the bottom. So, oh yeah, there's 6 of them there. And we go another spot, there's 7 there. So
that's live scope. It
is, totally.
Yeah, he'd go set up, ahead of them, and then we'd drop the lines, anchor up, drop the lines back, and sure enough, boom, boom, boom. I mean, it's amazing the technology nowadays that's out there.
That live scope is changing the game in that. I think for the most part, a lot of it has to do with slightly shallower depths. The guys are fishing, and it makes perfect sense. Freshwater, bass boats, sturgeon fishing, that kind of stuff. But it is absolutely changing the game. They also call it forward-facing sonar. It's becoming a private boat version of what's on the outer limits. A full live reaching sonar. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
I'd like to have a portable one and take it down to El Salto in 2 weeks when we have the
no doubt.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm looking forward to that trip. We're just about under 2 weeks now, and so I'm getting pretty fired up by fishing those bass there in Lake El Salto. But as far as the report goes, gosh, Loretto has just been on fire this year, not only with the Dorado that have been there, and of course the yellowtail all year, and here during the winter, they're just knocking them dead down there. I mean, they're getting some really, really nice quality fish this early in the year. And that San Bruno area, that high spot there is producing a lot of fish, about a 40-minute run from the harbor, the marina there at Loretto. In the other spots, Coronado, they're doing very well there. So it's a really, really good yellowtail bite going on there. And we get down to the Cabo San Lucas and San Jose del Cabo there, Dorado. It's amazing. I just never, of all my years, I don't think I've ever seen a year that's been just so many Dorado and constantly, and where they came from, and I don't know, but man, they're pretty solid. And here we are in January. Normally they're not there, especially in the numbers that they're there. So, but good Dorado fishing going on there. Also the yellowfin tuna in the high spots, both inside the Sea Cortez and up around the Cabo area there is producing some nice yellowfin tuna, especially inside. They're still getting about a 70 or 80, 90 pounder every now and then, mixed in with the smaller grade of fish, the 15 to 30 pound fish. And the best bait for them has been the cut squid, and they're also getting them on the lure, so which is pretty good to catch them on the lure, especially inside on those high spots. As far as the striped marlin go, they're migrating down, from Mag Bay and coming into the area there. Cabo boats have been fishing the Pacific side, the Golden Gate, and the Jaime Banks there, and doing real well on the striped marlin. And of course, little by little, those fish will start moving around into the Sea Cortez there, around Punta Gordo, and they head up to the East Cape by the time we get into the spring. But that's a report for this week. Anybody wants to book a trip into Southern Baja, mainland Mexico, Central America, South America for those peacock bass, give us a call at 800-593-6510 or on the web at www.casttours.com. And I'll talk to you boys next Saturday.
Great report. Appreciate that. As always, great report. Always full of killer information. I can't believe that Dorado bite is just never slowed. It's just unreal, man. Great report as always, buddy. We'll talk to you next Saturday. Thanks a lot for that. Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way, including a big block of your phone calls. If you want to get through, a great opportunity right now, 213-432-1090. Not only your chance to talk to Ken, but also get yourself in line for that full-day trip on board the San Diego out of C4 Sport Fishing. More Let's Talk Hookup coming your way on the Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio and the Let's Talk Hookup app.
Finally, after 3 years, the boat shows are back. The Bart Hall Boat Show at the Fairplex in Pomona, January 20th to the 22nd, will kick off a series of Bart Hall boat shows that will highlight Southern California's premium dealers and most of the greatest boat manufacturers in the country, all in one place. Fishing boats, ski and wake boats, family fun boats, very fast boats, very exotic boats, personal watercraft, and some of the most spectacular, one-of-a-kind handmade boats ever seen. If it floats and you can put it in or on your coat, car, then it's probably at this show. Marine accessories, wakeboards, marine clothing, kayaks, stand-up paddleboards. We've got it all, including live music. The Bart Hall Boat Show, January 20th to 22nd at the Fairplex in Pomona. Noon to 7 p.m. Friday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Sunday. Kids under 16 are free. All the boat dealers and all the boat factories you love, all in one place. Don't miss it. For more information, go to hallshows.com. That's hallshows.com.
This is Captain Tim Ekstrom from the long-range vessel Royal Star. With my partners Randy Toussaint and Brian Sims, we have set the bar for the long-range fishing experience. Spring 8-day, summer 5-day, or fly-down, fly-back 11-day winter trip, we deliver the highest quality long-range voyage you will find. From our premium RSW fish storage to our top-of-the-line chefs and crew, Royal Star distinguishes itself from all others. Want to grab a spot on the Royal Star? Check us out at RoyalStarSportFishing.com or call Tracy at 619-224-4764.
The lighter the bite and the cleaner the water means one thing. Need a thinner leader, more natural presentations. That's where Seaguar Gold Label leader material shines. It's Seaguar's thinnest leader material yet. That means it's even less visible underwater and creates more natural presentations for better catch rates on leader-shy fish. With exceptional knot and tinsel strength, this advanced leader material is now available from 2-pound test for fishing trout in the Sierra to 80-pound test for big yellowfin in Guadalupe. Get Seaguar Gold Label at your favorite tackle dealer or learn more at seaguar.com. Great fishing is what Seaforth Sports Fishing in Mission Bay is all about. With free parking and fully stocked tackle shop, Seaforth Sport Fishing is a favorite among anglers. Come aboard top boats like the Aztec, Cortez, Endeavor, Apollo, Outer Limits, Elgato Doe, Pride, Polaris Supreme, Tribute, Pacifica, Pacific Voyager, and the Voyager. Plus, the new Seaforth, Sea-Watch, and San Diego offer the finest half and full day trips available. Seaforth Sport Fishing. For charters or schedule, check seaforthlanding.com. Run by fishermen, for fishermen in Mission Bay.
It's time for the Power Pro 30-second seminar. I like catching big fish, and I like smaller reels, too. How do I make sure that I have the capacity to land the big one? I fill my reels with Power Pro Max Quattro. It's 25% thinner than standard Power Pro, so you get more line on that small reel. Power Pro has a complete series of highly effective lines, including the brand new Power Pro Depth Hunter Offshore, with different colors every 100 feet. Perfect for flatfall fishing. Want to learn more? Check PowerPro.com. Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Having a great time here this morning, taking your phone calls. Again, if you want to get through, 213-432-1090. We took a couple phone calls there and had one during the break drop off, so we actually have an open line. It's been a very busy start, so a good chance to get through right now. 213-432-1090.
Have a chance to go on one of the SAC boats, the San Diego out of Seaforth Sport Fishing, which is also a SAC landing there, and go fishing once they get rolling again. Go catch some fish.
Yeah, no
on
doubt.
the San Diego with Matt and Ryan. And I got a great question here about descending devices from Rory in Lakeside. He says, what descending devices do you recommend, and do some work better than others? Also, can they be rigged on your rock cod setup so you can descend fish as you continue fishing, or is it better to just dedicate a rod to it?
Yes to probably all of the above.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But we use on the SAC boats, SAC office issue equalizers. That's the one that we use during all of our science experiments that we did testing them. So for consistency, we've been issuing those from our office to our membership boats. There's a lot of different products out there. They all work, at releasing the fish. That's the key. Having a dedicated, if it were my boat, I would just I'd go out in my driveway with a crate, milk crate, and I'd put about 300 feet or 200 feet of tuna cord on it and put a descending device on it. The reason why is if you're on a private boat and you're going to go fishing and you go and catch some fish, you can go to the other side of the boat, clip on the fish you're going to let go, and just throw it over the side and go back to fishing. See, that's
what
the key.
A great idea.
And the problem that we've often had is people will put the descending device on a rod and reel.
Right.
They after you've used the device releasing fish a number of times, you end up losing a device. That can get very expensive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like.
So take a couple hundred feet of tuna cord.
Yeah.
Put it in a milk crate.
Yep.
With a sinker and the descending device, and what a great idea.
The Sequelizer one though, the reason I said 300 feet, we set them at 150 to begin with. But some people fish deeper. The deeper, the better. those can actually be set, the depths on that. So you got to make sure it matches up. But so descending device is a cool thing. We put on our logbook forms that we've used the descending device, but now the public gets credit for it, which helps us huge. And we use electronic logbooks on the boat. So when the people go fishing on the boat, captain at the end of the trip types in what he caught, sends it, and then that way we can keep track day to day what's being caught and make sure we don't run over any kind of federal limits that will cause a closure. So it's all interconnected here.
How many ounces, if you're going to use that methodology, how many ounces of weight do you put on that descending device if you're going to use the tuna cord and the...
if you're going to be just catching chucklehead or whatever, throw a 5-pound sinker on a thing just to be done with it. Because then it'll go straight up and down and it's easy. Or 3-pound sinker. Yeah. If you're going to use it a lot, that way it goes straight down, releases the fish real fast, and then you just pull it up by hand. And if you're using tuna cord, it's really easy to pull it up and throw it in the milk crate and keep on fishing.
I like it.
So many of us, for the big bluefin fishing that has happened in the last few years, bought the big electric reel for flying your kite from.
Right.
And that's what we use on our boat. We have a 3-pound torpedo sinker. You turned me on to that rock lease. That's the descending device that we use.
Great.
Super easy. You just open it up, it clamps right onto their jaw, and then there's a sinker on a snap swivel attached to the bottom. We have a 3-pound cod bar. And then you can let them down, and you can set that electric reel to just stop 10 feet below the boat. So we let the thing down, however far, 100 feet, couple hundred feet. You shake the rod one time, which opens up the rock lease thing, and then just put it in the rod holder and flip the electric switch forward, and it winds the sinker back up, and you just go back to fishing on your rod, and it just stops on its own 10 feet below the boat, and then you turn the handle by hand the last couple of feet, and away you go.
Works very well.
The key is you want to release a fish as quickly as you can.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
We went and did a marine research trip with Scripps and a number of the NIMS staff out at the 43, and we released the fish and then tracked them for a period of time, a month, and watched them go up and down in the water column. They actually had tags on the fish that would transmit, and they do real well. We actually recovered some fish at the Coronado Islands that were released on the 43.
Rad.
We caught fish at the entrance to San Pedro.
So you've shown scientifically,
we know they were.
If you put that thing down with a descending vise, it's just fine. He's going to swim around, going to continue to migrate, going to continue to forage food, whatever. They're all good.
Yep.
That's huge.
All right. Well, let's jump into the phones.
You got it again. If you want your shot, 213-432-1090. Let's talk to Eric. Pardon me. He's called us from Poway this morning. Hi, Eric. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, Happy New Year, you guys. I had a question because I'm starting to get some things about the Bart Hall. I know there's a few shows, but there's a fishing show, but the boat show, are they going to have any fishing stuff there at all? Are any of the big tackle people going to be there? Is it going to be worth me? I do have a boat, and thank you very much for what SAC does for us guys who got boats. But is it going to be worth me going there, to look at tackle and stuff?
Absolutely. There's 3 shows that are going to happen here. We have first of course, next week is strictly a boat show, the one in Fairplex and Pomona.
I think that's what he's referring to.
Yeah.
At the
Fairplex.
He's wanting to know if there's going to be fishing tackle as well at that show, I believe. Is that right, Eric?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So you're not talking about like the Bart Hall Del Mar show or the PCS show in March or the Bart Hall Long Beach show. You're talking about the first one coming up.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm going to be in Hawaii fishing for the Bart Hall show in San Diego.
Oh, darn.
What a bummer.
Well, maybe Bart's listening and he can let us know if there's going to be fishing tackle and stuff at the Fairplex. It is strictly a boat show, first show of the year. So if Bart's listening, let us know if there's going to be tackle there.
Hey, Pete, tell you what, I'll take his place in Hawaii. He can go to the show, and we're all good.
Yeah, perfect. Hey, thanks a lot for the call, and we'll see you at the boat show. For sure.
Thanks, Eric.
Ray in Santa Ana says, I just want to thank the 3 of you. 6 years ago, I called into the show, and we won a trip for 2 to the East Cape to attend a fishing tournament. The airlines were completely booked, so already, and I believe this was when you were on, they had it. The trip was canceled. In lieu of the trip, Ken gave me a very generous gift certificate for C4 Sport Fishing, which I used to take my daughters, who were 9 and 11 at the time, fishing on the new Seaforth. We had a banner nonstop action day that included yellowtail, huge bonita, barracuda, calico bass, etc. My daughters are now 15 and 17, and we've gone every year since then. It's now my annual family tradition, and I want to thank the three of you for getting me started.
Nice job.
How about that, Ken?
I remember that well.
That's awesome.
That well.
That
what a
is
great
so
text
cool.
that was.
You know, and that just shows you take the kids out fishing and watch what happens.
And that's why we work so close with the recreational boaters. 'Cause those are the folks that go on our boats. So.
That was
all
cool.
for one. Yeah, great family.
That's awesome.
And glad it worked out.
Yeah, great. And thanks for the text, Ray.
Yeah, totally. I had another text come through, and Ken, this is a little more on the scientific side, so it might not be in your wheelhouse, but I know how closely you work with all the DFG biologists and the scientific community. It says, "Good morning, gentlemen. Ken, what is the approximate age of a 1 to 2 pound version of some of our more popular rockfish, like reds and coppers? And then also, how long does it take for them to get to that size?" That's from Ralph and Menifee.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one to answer just because every species is different. Rest assured, they're very old, and they grow slowly. Initially, they grow quickly just when they're fingerlings, but the bottom line is you get an older rockfish, it's 35, 40 years old, some of those things.
That's crazy.
So, I think just by doing some simple math, you got a 10, 15-year-old fish, it's a couple of pounds, but it'll vary from species to species.
When you were talking about using the ROV when you were doing a lot of these studies, so that's like basically a self-propelled eye at the bottom.
Well, what we did is in the very beginning, 2001, when all of the Boccaccio closures occurred, we retrofitted the outer limits to support the NOAA ROV, remote operated vehicle, and we put it aboard the boat, and the pilot sits in the galley, and we had big widescreen TVs in there, and it was utterly amazing. We went all over the ocean. We had captains from throughout the fleet that would come on each trip and take the scientists to where they go fishing, and that led to a whole lot of other good science. But it was just fascinating to sit there and have the pilot. It was like Disneyland. We had the room full, and the pilot's flying this thing, and it's going up and down through the water column as deep as 200 fathoms.
Holy mackerel!
We found ships. We found all sorts of stuff down there. It was pretty amazing. Yeah, it's just. And for me as an operator, up in the wheelhouse, I'd be running the boat, following the ROV. I had a little target screen, but to look on my sonar, and I use a side scan ahead of the boat to make sure we didn't run into any cliffs, but to see what's on the sonar, which I've seen for years, and then to run down in the galley and actually see what the return
the difference between a two-dimensional chart versus the real thing.
I learned a lot.
Yeah,
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I just want to know what the clouds of reds and cods and cow cod must have looked like.
Yeah.
So
cool.
the boat still has the equipment. Paul does it every year. He just did, I think, a couple of months worth this year from Eureka all the way to the Mexican border. But it's an amazing tool.
For stock assessment.
Yeah, for stock assessment. Well, for anything, for just getting a good visual of how are things. One cool thing that I always get asked is, does the ROV scare the fish? We had this move called the Crazy Ivan, where you idle the ROV along and then turn it around real quick, and there will be this cloud of fish following it.
Following it. Interesting. What is this thing?
I want that video, man.
Yeah.
I want to see that. That sounds so cool.
Sure.
Hey, when we come back, we got a lot of Let's Talk Hookup coming your way. Another full hour, including the catch report. We're going to find out what's biting right now. You stay tuned. You're listening to Let's Talk Hookup on the Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio and that Let's Talk Hookup app.
In America, the future belongs to everyone. So we engineered the truck of the future for everyone. Ford F-150. Available with a Pro-Power onboard generator and a variety of cab configurations for whatever you need to haul. Because the truck of the future isn't created for just a few. It's for America. Ford F-150. Drive one today. Come in now for a huge selection of vehicles like the 2022 Ford F-150 for 1.9% APR for 60 months. Only at your San Diego County Ford dealers. Not all buyers will qualify for Ford credit financing. 1.9% APR financing for 60 months at $17.48 per month per 1,000 financed, regardless of down payment. Residency restrictions apply. For all offers, take new retail delivery from an authorized Ford dealer stock by 4/3/2023. See dealer for qualifications and complete details.
Mark your calendar for what promises to be the most exciting sports show of the year. It's the all-new, bigger, and better 13th Annual Pacific Coast Sports Fishing, Tackle, Boat, and Travel Show March 2nd to the 5th at the OC Fair and Events Center in Costa Mesa. Check out hundreds of sport fishing exhibitors, manufacturers, tackle dealers, fishing boats, fishing resorts taking up the entire fairgrounds, plus fabulous seminars and a free kids trout pond. This year, the PCS show has added freshwater exhibitors and seminars to cover bass, trout, and fly fishing. Learn new fishing techniques from some of the top names in the sport fishing industry, from catching giant bluefin tuna, swordfish, calico bass, and more. Take advantage of incredible show specials from major tackle retailers and boat dealers. Talk to great fishing travel destinations. 4 full days, Thursday, March 2nd to Sunday, March 5th. The 13th Annual Pacific Coast Sport Fishing, Tackle, Boat, and Travel Show at the OC Fair and Events Center in Costa Mesa. Don't miss it. Everyone is always looking for the new hot lure. You know, the ones that are really putting fish on the boat. Right now, the bluefin tuna bite is on, and the Shimano Pop Orca and Pop Orca Slim are getting the job done. The Pop Orca features Shimano's unique bubble chamber, an open mouth design based on how a jet engine turns low pressure into high pressure. The bubble chamber forces water through the chamber and shoots it out of the top of the lure to create more commotion than conventional popper-style lures. This unique design makes Pop Orca and Pop Orca Slim much easier to work with than conventional poppers. With through-wire construction and high tensile strength hooks, Shimano's Pop Orcas can stand up to large bluefin tuna. Plus, Shimano's Jet Boost technology helps anglers increase casting distance, so you can reach the foamer easier. The Shimano Pop Orca and Pop Orca Slim. Get them now at your local Shimano dealer.
Sport fishing, not just for dad anymore, thanks to the Dana Wharf's Kids Club. Dana Wharf Sport Fishing invites all anglers 12 and under to join the Kids Club today. Membership includes over $100 of really cool stuff, like 2 free fishing trips, whale watch trip, as well as a free Dana Wharf Kids Club hat or t-shirt. Log on to the website, danawharf.com, or visit them in Dana Point Harbor, the bass capital of the West and only minutes from the 5 freeway in Orange County.